Well, good evening once again. Day 1373 of the Trump administration, meaning 11 days are left until Election Day. The final stage of this race is unfolding across our country, as is an uncontrolled pandemic. The numbers are trending in a very disturbing direction. The latest data from the COVID Tracking Project shows more than 83,000 new cases diagnosed just today. That's an all-time high, even for us, even more than the record set during the summer surge across the American Sunbelt. And this headline from the New York Times reads, the number of people hospitalized with the coronavirus in the U.S. up by 40% in the past month. More than 8.5 million Americans have a confirmed case of this, over 225,000 souls lost. Yet just hours after coming under such heavy fire for his response to the pandemic, Donald Trump was back at it, packed rallies on the road. He held back-to-back Florida events, Pensacola and at the Villages, the largest retirement community in our country. Yet his messaging on the virus sounded nothing like much of what the nation now faces.
We're rounding the turn. With or without the vaccine, we have the vaccines, they're going to be great. But with or without it, we're rounding the turn. Normal life, it's all we want, fully resuming. We want normal life to fully resume. And that's happening. We understand the disease. I understand it better than you. I had it. Joe Biden's plan will crush America. My plan will crush the virus.
The seniors that Trump spoke to earlier this afternoon, that event at the Villages, they were key to his victory 4 years ago, but the polls show their support is anything but solid, anything but certain now. Today, the president seemed to suggest that the current reporting on the virus was just an effort to scare older Americans into backing Biden.
All Biden and his handlers in the media want to talk about today is COVID, COVID, COVID. On November 4th, you won't hear anything about it because we are rounding that turn. You won't hear. But they want to scare you to try to make you vote for Biden.
For his part, the former vice president used the day to lay out an actually rather detailed plan to try to contain the pandemic in the United States.
If this is a success, what's a failure look like? We're more than 8 months into this crisis, and the president still doesn't have a plan. I'll reach out to every governor in every state, red and blue, as well as mayors and local officials, during transition to find out what support they need. I'll go to every governor, urge them to mandate mask wearing in their states. And if they refuse, I'll go to the mayors and county executives and get local masking requirements in place nationwide. I'm not going to shut down the economy. I'm not going to shut down the country. I'm going to shut down the virus. Once we have a safe and effective vaccine, it has to be free to everyone, whether or not you're insured. Yes, Mr. President, I'll listen to the scientists, and I'll empower them.
Mask mandates are a big feature of the Biden plan, and for good reason. A new study from a medical journal says universal mask wearing could save 133,000 American lives by just the end of February. Same study shows, and it warns that without masks, the virus could kill over 500,000 of us by then, largely while we watch. So far, governors in 17 states have not made masks mandatory in any form. This morning, the president gathered reporters for an event in the Oval Office to announce improved relations between Israel and Sudan. Again, packed with people, shoulder to shoulder. And during the event, Trump mocked a reporter for wearing a mask while on the phone with Netanyahu of Israel minutes after defending his response to the pandemic.
Do you stand by your statement that you take responsibility for the pandemic that you said last night, sir?
I always take responsibility, and I've done a great job, and the people around me have done a great job. This is Jeff Mason. He's got a mask on. That's the largest mask I think I've ever seen. So I don't know if you can hear him.
Today, we learn more about just how far the White House coronavirus task force has been sidelined. Dr. Anthony Fauci told our colleague Chuck Todd the task force meetings have indeed become less frequent.
The doctors, myself and Dr. Birx and Dr. Redfield and Dr. Hahn and others meet. We used to meet in person, but now virtually at least once a week. But an official task force meeting, Chuck, in the last several weeks has been about one per week.
And when was the last time you had the president at one of these task force meetings?
At a task force meeting, that was several months ago. I definitely don't have his ear as much as Scott Atlas right now.
That Dr. Atlas he's talking about is the California radiologist that Trump saw on Fox News. He's been widely reported to be a divisive force on what remains of the task force. He's publicly flirted with the notion of herd immunity, which would likely kill millions of Americans.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.